So, is that Bianca L. Gibson? I think that's how you say it. I think that's her middle name, L, because that would be weird. Bianca L. Bianca L. Gibson shared a tweet replying to a comment she got on one of her past videos, asking her a question. I wanted to get y'all's reaction to. I guess we can respond to the question itself and then her reaction to the question. So let me maximize this.
This is the ignorant mentality that I speak about. This type of man is a low value man. He has no purpose, nor does he know who God created him to be. To make a comment to say, how does it benefit you to raise somebody else's kid? How does it benefit for you to cash someone else's kid? Shows that you have no emotional intelligence. You have no intellect, okay? Because, see, the reality of it is, we're all God's creatures. If you are in love with someone, you embrace their children as if they're yours, okay? And the reason you would do that, if you have an understanding of what you believe and how you believe it, God takes us and he makes us his own, right? So when he actually died on the cross, the gospel was given to the Jews, and yet the Jews did not care about the Gentiles, and he grafted us in, the Gentiles, which it didn't belong to us, but he grafted us in. We're now considered his.
The little kid's like, "Mom, can we just go?"
So when you mentality as ignorant as cashing out somebody else's kid, it shows that you lack any integrity, any morality. It shows that you're self-centered and possibly narcissistic. It shows many different things, and this is why so many families are broken, and especially in the Black community. Let's talk about that. This is why our community continues to lack. So when you go out there in the streets and you see somebody disrespecting the older person, you see a young youth maybe going wayward, do you not say to yourself, maybe I should say something to that young blood right there? Let me say, hey dude, that's not the right way to go. We can do better. And take somebody under your wing and mentor them. See, when you start thinking about others beyond yourself, you make different choices. But that
go up to that young blood and say, hey dude, let's do better.
Women popping their butts on the videos, degrading themselves. They all about the money and the cash and the power and all these bling.
She just solved all of the world's problems just now. Just all in her response.
She knows the answers.
Just solved everything.
She has the answers.
And valuing yourself, and you'll start valuing and seeing other people and start wanting to build them up. How about that?
So.
Oh my God.
I just want to first point out how she didn't even answer his question at all. I feel you though. I feel you though. I really do feel you though. She didn't even answer his question. I don't want to assume. Obviously, you could, and I wouldn't really disagree. But you could. There's a little bit of malicious or sass in this question, like how does raising, investing in your ex's kids benefit me?
I'm not even reacting like that to the question, or like if he doesn't.
It was because it was her opportunity to express her feelings instead of actually addressing the question itself.
She talked about Jesus,
because she said a bunch of nothing
the
there.
Jews, the Gentiles, the Black community, young bloods, uplifting each other. She solved so many of the world's problems in this question. Well, okay, to the question. How does raising and investing in your ex-kids...
Your exes, I think is what he said. Like her ex.
Your ex's kids benefit me. What do I gain? No, in your ex's kids. So this isn't even a stepfather situation. This is...
No, I think this is what she's talking about.
I dated somebody that has a kid, but I'm no longer with them. Is your ex's kid.
No, I don't think he's talking about I'm dating like my ex's kid. I think he's talking about like I'm a single guy, I'm dating you, and you happen to be a baby mother. So why would I invest in your ex's?
That's not what that says.
I think that's what the
in your ex's kids. Yeah. Okay.
How does raising
and investing in your ex's kids benefit me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad grammar, obviously we can't understand, but he's saying exactly.
Okay, what do I gain from? Okay, so I get that. I mean, honestly speaking, I don't believe in itemizing or monetizing relationships. So, like, in sincerity, if you
I agree with her, it's a wrong perspective. She just didn't reasonably answer the question. She just attacked the guy, which doesn't justify your point. Like, I honestly yeah, I agree with her. Like this, I won't say what everything she said, but like that's not the right perspective to have on it. Like I understand, like it's already has its own baggage and weight. But if you get to know the girl and you like her, like, and you have to figure out whether
Yeah,
or not
but
there's
that's what I'm
something you want to
saying.
deal with.
His
But
question is too far into the assumption of the relationship already. Like, how does raising and investing in your ex's kids benefit me? It insinuates that we're already at him and the girl are already at a place where they're in a relationship, but almost he has a problem with the kids. So how do you get to that? I don't like that question because how do you get to that point without acknowledging the kid already or acknowledging the role the kid will play in that person's
Yeah,
life?
the guy
You know what I'm
sounds
saying?
extremely selfish in the sense that
Yeah,
like,
so he skipped that. He's like,
yeah.
I've already enjoyed the relationship. Now, what point of is the so the
the next step in
I
this
get
commitment I
her
have to you.
exactly, but I get her irritation. But she talked about the Jews, the
Exactly.
Gentiles. She talked about the black community and broken
She said a
homes
lot, but
and
nothing in that. A lot.
Well,
and
I mean, her point is that like you should just be giving, especially if you have knowledge to offer or you have wisdom to offer. Like you should be giving of it, and whatever happens, happens. Like this guy who's asking the questions, expecting something in return for having babysat. Like in my
100%
opinion, I think he's looking at it as like, what do I get for babysitting your kid? Like he's not
correct.
looking at it as like, what do I get for helping foster your child and stuff like that, even though you had whatever happened in your life. And so he's just thinking selfishly. And so I think for her point, like she's just explaining like, well, there's a lot to offer that you have to offer other people. Like that's just it.
But did she say that?
Exactly. That's my point, though. Instead of actually, even though obviously, like, no, I don't think there's any disagreement here. Like, this question is dumb. Like, it's the perspective also is like, bro, you're looking at this too narrow minded, or just in a very narrow point of view.
Correct.
But if he asked his, I'm assuming he asked his question not trying to be malicious intent, like sassy, but with like, I want to actually hear your opinion with you being a single mother and you having like some kind of insight that I would want to hear from. Why,
Okay.
like, and
I
then
get
she
it.
chose instead.
She replied to his mentality, not to his question. So
Okay,
she replied to the the stereotypical mentality of that what she puts on the type of person who would ask that question instead of the actual question. So I guess that's why she took the angle she took. But even if you want to speak to the mentality of it, the reference she wanted to seem more intellectual. She wanted to seem more smart than him.
it was
And
virtue signaling to me.
by proving that she was more smart, she could thereby like I don't know, show him up like, oh, you didn't think I was this smart, and because I'm smarter than you, however whatever I believe in, therefore is right.
But she recited
because
the
I'm
Bible a lot,
smart.
and does having a strong faith equate to smarts?
Okay. So when people recite the Bible that aren't technically really religious or are kind of like woke, it's a sign of intelligence because it's a script. It's like reciting something from history. You know what I'm saying? Because those people will often use that, and then
But if they don't value it, then how does it hold
But
credence?
you're not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. We're
Fair.
not talking
I just,
about
I'm
that.
just
But
lost
this
on
is
it.
something that
Then.
they're
I
getting
understand
there.
what
You know what I'm saying? That's coding their
Well,
ego.
that's
Doesn't make
probably
sense to me
like
as
So
her
they'll
background.
sprinkle.
Like she
They'll
probably
sprinkle.
grew up going to church and stuff like that. And so like the mentality, like John's right. Like she sounds like she's trying to convert him, almost.
What a terrible way.
But then
Like,
exactly like. But it's not even. And technically speaking, I'm sure if you even go to this girl's profile, you'll see she's probably not even into. Because let me tell you something. When people speak about Jews and Gentiles, they're not. It's not regular Christianity that she's referring to. She's probably gonna be not a 1%er or anything like that, but she's probably gonna be more along the lines of like Black Jesus, like And I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying people like that often, and I'm not just talking about people who talk about a Black Jesus, God forbid. I'm just talking about people who sprinkle religion in the conversation, often couple it with some fake or
pseudo?
I mean, I guess, but just some stereotypical or something they've heard
Basic?
historical fact. So they'll always so when she's talking about the Jews and the Gentiles, and she's talking about this and that, she's speaking of that historically, but then referencing the Bible also. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, because I reference these things that I'm pretty sure most people don't have common knowledge on, you can't question my logic on things. Therefore, you have to accept my logic because I've proven I'm smarter than you in this whole reply. And you can tell it's a TikTok because she's rushing to say everything she feels about the whole world.
She's doing a dump.
It's right there, and that's why covered that, and that's why yeah, and that's why I don't even engage.
It's like she
in
took this
conversations
personally.
Like that.
I mean, obviously she did take it personally.
I mean, there's a kid in the back, so I'm sure she took it personally. But I just don't. I often like if I'm in.
I guess
on
my thing is,
environment-
I agree that obviously the way he's seeing is wrong, but I feel like someone have to understand that some men view it this way, and
100%.
arguably, I don't know if this is right or wrong. You guys tell me. A good majority of men probably think this way.
Yeah, but that's not the problem here with the question.
Well, I guess
know
with
you're
her it's
not-
the problem though, because that's why
That's what
I would say she
that's
reacted
her-
so emotionally,
but-
because she's probably experienced a lot of men who don't want to deal with her because of her baby.
Wait,
But
so
the-
you're
the-
saying like a majority of men think the way this guy's asking the question?
Not specifically the way he thinks, but
Like what do I have to gain from? But see,
hesitant about dating a baby mother.
Oh, for
Okay,
sure
but see,
that,
that's the-
yeah. Yeah.
But that's
that's-
the difference. His question states they're already dating. Because how do raising and investing in your ex's kids benefit me? Why would you do that to a stranger?
Yeah, see
It
that I don't
insinuates a
think a lot of
relationship,
guys think like
and
that, but that's just because I'm
That's
hearing
where
on
it's
this app
off.
optimism. Where like, I don't know, a lot of kids benefit from having just the masculine figure around, and sometimes like single moms like life just happens to them, and they don't want to be alone, so why wouldn't they be able to get like somebody who helps them out or somebody who teaches their kids some stuff?
And then like, would you want somebody in the house that's just like non interacting with your kid? They go to the fridge. It's late at night. It's awkward.
Shoo.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just not natural.
Is it walking?
So like the question within itself existing is, so the question would be, why would a man date a person with a child? If a guy has a preference to date a woman without a child, or a woman has a preference to date a man without a child, they're allowed to have that preference. So that I can understand maybe if she's speaking to that frustration of a guy having a preference not to date a woman with a child. But the way he worded it removes the dating part, because if they're talking to, these are two parties that don't need to be talking. If you don't want to interact with people with
I
children,
feel that's a good point because she already has kids, so therefore, all off the bat, the men she's dating, it has to skip a few steps. I need to know you can provide and be a father figure, whereas
or you're just comfortable around, comfortable with me having a kid. You don't view it this way.
I'm trying to say, generally speaking, single mothers
Yeah,
when they
that's
in the
what they're
dating
looking
pool,
for.
what they're looking for is an already established man who can already has potential of being a father. That's what they
Correct.
need. Not obvious. I would argue need in a man.
Or is willing to grow into the
but
role.
want highly everything else in a man because of the kid factor,
Mm-hmm.
which puts more pressure on the guy.
But if he doesn't want to date a girl with a kid, the conversation doesn't even need to happen. They're opposites. She wants somebody who's, and she does. So that's why I said even them talking doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's
Like they would
definitely
swipe
cringy.
left on each other on Tinder, based on their bios.
And then we get this reaction where she's basically trying to convert the guy.
Yeah, which is
That's
it's
cringy.
kind of yeah. There's no way it doesn't come across as cringe. It's weird, but then it's just I don't know. It's really interesting to see people when they believe they're right, 100, like flexing their intellect or flexing their something. It's
I don't even know if I
to-
agree that she was flexing her
No,
intellect. Maybe she was.
She's comfortable with what she's saying, but okay. Let me put it like this: when people are finally or comfortable with making a judgment on somebody, and like all the way, like we may speak on people's actions,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
or what
'cause
they're
she
saying.
definitely argued the mentality, which is a judgment on him.
Boom,
Because
and
how do
so
you know his
she's
mentality without knowing
there's
who he is?
nobody to rebuttal or to refute what she's saying. So it's just her dropping knowledge as far as she's concerned. So the mannerism you'll see of somebody who believes they're right all the time is like yeah, you see how her hands are. You see how like boom, just you're just hitting you with facts after facts after fact. And it's always funny for me as a third party to watch somebody comfortably do that because I cringe. God forbid I ever act that way. That's actually one of my fears. Like I cannot stand that form of, and it's okay to be confident. So it may be something I just have to work on. But it's just like an ego thing with me where it's just like, damn, like if look how we're talking.
Damn,
about
John.
her.
So you'll never do the glasses raised, the anime glasses raised.
Not at all, because like no, but seriously, look how we're talking about her. This is one of my worst fears. Like I'm just sitting there,
Well, that's because
and then look at her.
But the reason why, even if you do something like that, I don't think that would ever happen to you because, and I'm making an assumption here. Obviously, I could be wrong with the assumption, but you avoid stuff like this when you actually ask your friends. I would say friends, family, questions like this. Like I feel like she's never talked about this before, so that's why off her dome she went through so many different topics of discussion to justify her rationale or argument towards this man or just whatever to this guy's question, because she actually hasn't talked about this before. So she's going through the thought the first time ever. I don't think I don't like.
But she's
only
going
time I
through
do
the
something like
thought.
that is with people I'm comfortable with, and it's crazy that if that's what she's doing, that she felt so comfortable to just get on
Incorrect.
the internet like that
You're
and just
going-
express the free flowing thought
Incorrect,
like that.
Gene, because you're going through the thought, questioning it along the steps. She's going through the thought for the first time already with the perception she's right on it, because of based off her feeling on the subject. I morally feel I'm correct on the subject.
I agree
so
with you.
therefore, everything
I'm just
I
challenging
say
whether or not she's questioned
to
this in her mind
defend,
before. Like she's actually
she doesn't. Throughout the whole process, she never questions herself. The whole freestyle, there's no questioning of herself, and that's where I'm saying that's where my fear. I do not want to be talking, don't question it, and then it's like, whoa. Now, if she has to watch us watching her, this is probably a cringe moment for her. Like, just if she grows, if she watches this video and she's like, oh, I could have addressed this better or done better. Probably, we watch some of our old videos and cringe. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, whew, for me to think, oh, she figured out the Jews, the Gentiles. She was summoning spells. She was doing everything. Like, she knew about bloodlines. She knew about everything. And it's just like, wow, in a minute? And that's what's wrong with the community. Blah, 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 blah. That's why I'm in contained spaces.
I don't understand how that made sense. I feel like that's the only, like, not the only one, but the one that stuck out to me the most was just because a black man in the black community doesn't want to step up to be a stepdaddy, that's the reason why the community's messed up? No, the reason why the community's messed up is because of the single motherhood rate right now.
You cannot, for example, even what you just said, right? I agree. That's part of the problem, right? But we don't have much time on the podcast. One, I refuse. No, literally, I refuse to have those type of conversations in confined time spaces, because
It requires more in-depth.
And so when you're replying to that on a minute video, and not even just what you just said, but like she did in a minute video, I refuse to engage, sincerely, because there's no way you fit the information you want in that minute. Even because I'm sure if you had a longer conversation with her, that she'd probably sound better and more eloquent. But you're fitting all this information in 1 minute. You never sound smart. Your point is never proven. Your point is dispersed because you didn't focus on one thing. You tried to cover all these topics, and you didn't cite anything.
Picture, you just drew a stick figure or whatever.
Just a whole bunch of just paint splotches.
There
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why even to start the conversation right now, to me would be disingenuous to say why we think what the problem in the community is, because there's not enough time. If that was the topic of conversation, sure. That wasn't the topic of conversation. She just answered the world's problem in a minute and felt like she dropped knowledge. Bam. Knowledge bomb. Boom. I'll tell you all the time, I'm dumb and I don't know shit. I ain't shit. I start with that premise every time I start talking, like even at the end of it.
Yo, you made it to the end. Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching Fake Deep Thinking. If you like the show, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and to share. We really appreciate everything and appreciate you. So take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Have a good day.